Lochani and Gupina Gupila Finyelela Corner, the big seat. Thank you so much for taking time apart and always be including into our podcast. And we really appreciate that. And we encourage you to share, like, subscribe, and let your family members know of this great work that is being done here. And today's episode is all about your voice, because your voice definitely changes everything. And we have partnered with the Civil Society Unmuted Coalition. We're bringing you information around about the voter registration that is happening on the 1st of August, led by the IEC, and we've brought in all organizations that are advocating for the rights of people. And primarily today's episode is all about that, and I'm joined in by my brother Mxolisi Mngomezulu, and it's great to have him on the podcast, The Big Seat. And my brother, I just want to thank you so much for having agreed to come on, and thank you so much.
No, great. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. To somebody who doesn't know you, I know that you've done extensive work around community activism, leading up the fort for the people, but more so in advocating for the voice of the people or the voice of the community to be heard. Now we're talking about your voice. It obviously is, it's some sort of a big tool that one can use, because definitely that voice can change everything. Give me a sense of the work that you have done in other parts of, obviously, the province of Mpumalanga and other parts of the communities around ensuring that I'm a voice of as well.
Yeah, Ash, we've done such a great work, especially in the area of government. We have been doing a lot. So we started our work based on the needs that are there in the community.
Yeah.
Most of the people are sitting out there, and the information doesn't reach everyone.
Yeah.
So we took it upon ourselves that it will take someone for information to reach someone. At least the bit that I know, I can be able to share and encourage other people as well to share. So our work has been around the areas of drugs, which is mostly the issues around our areas. So it started with a passion of trying to solve problems of drugs. So we'll be educating people and advocating for drugs. And all of a sudden, we're also introduced to the part of human rights.
Sure.
And that's where we got an encounter with Civic Society Unmuted.
Yeah.
Because in this work, what we have noticed is that you cannot be able to do it alone. I mean, the work is huge problems. There's a lot of problems, which even if you can get funded, it will be underfunded. So right now, partnership has become one of the major steps that we had to take. And when we had to meet Civic Society Unmuted, where most of the other organizations are there, and then you get to even notice that in the country, your problems are not isolated. So many other people are having common problems. So we are actually advocating for human rights. We are also talking about issues of drugs and all the other issues that people are facing in our communities.
Talk to me around those people and some of the challenges that you've picked up. I mean, when you were obviously trying to bring about some sort of a cushion around people who are somewhat into the drug space, who are somewhat abusing obviously of substance. Give me a sense that, do you gather that those people get to exercise their democratic rights?
Not at all. I mean, most of the people who are, most especially those that are drug addicted currently, they don't even think of voting. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. The next thing that the person needs who is into drugs is to get a fix. In the morning, the energy is always driven towards getting a fix for a day. I mean, that can take the whole day, because some would have to be picking up teens, and this is the majority of young people who are becoming used during the era of elections, because they need something very simple to get. I mean, if someone comes with 100 rand or any amount of money and they say vote for this, you do not need to take time to think about the reason for that vote. You just cast it out anyway, because you're going to get something for the fix. So that's a majority of young people that we need to reach, so that they make sober decisions as they are going to vote.
Sure. It's easy for us to then say, but these are individuals who are currently using substances, right? But equally, one of the things I've picked up, I mean, around voting periods and registration weekends, for instance, the one we're going to, you would find that individuals would use those days as recreational purposes. I mean, it will be like a holiday where people think, nah, let's go and bribe instead of going out to vote, or let's go out on a leisure excursion instead of us going out to register to vote. How then do we get people to understand, the role, the fact that their vote is their voice, and definitely that voice that does change everything?
Yeah, it's a different story when you, for someone who's already working.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate enough as well to meet Civic Society Unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where policy discussions are there, and I happen to be the treasurer there in the province. That's where you get to really have a real conversation about the importance of voting. Otherwise, since we do not have constitutional education within the schools, I mean, someone that is doing grade 1 until grade 12, you only have a glimpse of what the Constitution speaks about, but you don't have a depth in terms of what it represents and how does it even assist you. But for someone who's already working, maybe who's in an advantage position, it's easy for them to go and bribe. But someone that is deeply in somewhere in the rural areas, they don't even think of the areas of bribe. And which are the people. It's better for you if someone is not voting for the reason of saying, no, we do not see the reason of this democracy. That's a different reasoning. By someone who's just sitting somewhere there, who are going to be used by certain people because they have an advantage over their poverty. They have an advantage over them looking for a fix for a day. They will just get them drugs and they vote wrongly. The one who did not vote because they don't have a reason to vote because of things that they see, it's a different conversation. We can have that conversation. But for someone who's sitting outside there who's not getting information, the only time he's going to be told about registration is lately now during the 1st of August until the 4th. People are going to be encouraged to go and vote for the reason of the people that are coming to make that presentation, which has nothing to do with the people that information is presented to. You see.
What do you think is the role of government, primarily in inculcating a conversation around the importance of the Constitution? Because having read the Constitution itself, then it does embolden you as a person. It gives you some sense of belonging. It gives you some sense of liberties, because in fact, you now know what lies ahead for you should you exercise a certain vote. And also, I suppose you become thoroughly engaged in any conversations of our country. Give me a sense of what role do you think government can play, primarily in inculcating a conversation about Constitution? Because I like what you said. You said it's, grade 1 to grade 12. There is no way in our curriculum where people are being taught about the Constitution, the importance of the Constitution. I know those who would have studied history, they do learn about it, but not in depth, like you say. Give me a sense of what role then do you think government should be playing, but also equally private sector, because they also have a similar responsibility.
I think that's the role mostly that the civic society is playing currently. But you imagine that you're speaking about civic society that is underfunded as well. You're speaking about organizations on the ground who are trying to play that role, but they're underfunded, and that makes it difficult for them to reach the maximum number of people that needs to be reached. I mean, such should be taught at school. I mean, a child that is the Constitution of this country is one of the major or the most important document that anyone can come across before your Bible. Because even
I've got a lot of Christian friends who are not going to agree with you on that.
Why I'm saying before the Bible? Because even you are a Christian, the reason why you wouldn't be able to fully exercise your Christian rights, it is when people play around the Constitution.
I see.
Most of the people, you can even check during COVID-19, how many of the rights of the people were taken without consultation, without proper conversations around it. Simply, the next day you can't come out of your house. The next day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can't be done. The next day, as a Christian, you can't go to your church. Meaning that if you do not have a proper understanding of the Constitution, even your belief can be suppressed. So, if we take all our energy towards making sure that the constitution is learned, not only by a lawyer, because right now why we pay huge amounts of money to lawyers, it's because they know the constitutions and we don't.
Yeah.
You see, and that's the most difficult part. I think the government should invest much in people knowing their constitution.
Yeah. Let's look ahead of this big weekend. A lot of people think it's merely the responsibility of IEC, the 1st and the 2nd of August. I know it's the last round of the voter registration ahead of the 4th of November.
Exactly.
That's when the local government elections are going to be taking place. Give me a sense of what do you think is the responsibility of the churches? What do you think is the responsibility of civic organizations, religious formations, obviously coming from the churches, and equally the responsibility of government and obviously the private sector? Incumsum of the IEC there.
I think we can pose a lot of responsibility to the civic society.
Sure.
That includes the churches and all religious formation, and the private sector as well.
Yeah.
They have a huge responsibility, because as for like when politicians and the others, they maximize on this time, like the level of ignorance of people. Like it's an advantage for someone who's just there. But for churches, they have a huge role, because they have a lot to lose if people don't make sober decision to vote.
What do you mean by churches have a lot to lose? Just talk us through that.
No. I mean, I'm saying, as the example I've made for you before, that the rights of the people for the I think it's 2020, 2021, like people were not going to church.
And you are right, because a lot of churches ended up closing around that time.
Some did not even open after COVID-19.
Sure. I see
many companies lost money even up to this point. They did not recover.
Yeah. So you attribute that to a larger part of not fully being able to exercise your democratic right.
Exactly.
But equally, now we're talking about voting.
Yeah.
So you find that to be somewhat sacrosanct around the idea that churches should be also playing an active role in encouraging their own members of their denomination to go out and vote.
Exactly.
Sure.
And in their numbers, fortunately enough, on Saturday we were having a conversation with the churches.
Yeah.
We invited quite a lot of pastors and mostly young people.
Yeah.
Because there's some sort of stereotype that is happening within the church which we need to break. That people less participate in voting, they less participate in influencing decisions that will affect them lately. So we should be intentional about influencing whatever offices where decisions are made. We should be there.
Sure.
And mostly important for churches, because we call ourselves salt of the world. I mean, if you are a salt, you should be part of the process of what you want to influence.
You must bring taste.
Yeah. So the taste can only be brought up if you're part of that which you want to bring taste to. You see that thing. So
but what I know the IEC has been struggling to get young people into their voters' role. They've done well in the context of the province of Mpumalanga now in the voter registration that they did in June. But obviously, I'm sure the targets are up again with the one that is coming up in August. Give us a sense of why is that important? Why do you think young people should be playing a pivotal role ahead of the local government elections, or be any other elections that are going to be held in the country? Why should young people be on the forefront of that?
Young people are more they are more aware of what is happening in the world currently. We're having technology advancement. An old person wouldn't move until someone comes to bring that information. But as for young people, information is right in the tap of their fingers. Meaning that if young people are not going to lead the struggle of knowledge currently, of making others to be aware, no one will make people to be aware. Because young people, they easily get this information. Then we talk about churches. Churches are the most organized black structure currently.
But what about Stockveld?
No. I mean, even that. I mean, we do have. That's why when it comes to Stockveld, it's easy to have more Stockvelds, which I think recently we have noticed with churches. But Stockvelds, because it include money, people mostly now and then buy a kaba, you understand. But the most consistent structure that we have found since the beginning of dawn of democracy, which was there even during the time of struggle, was churches. It was the only place where black people could unite for their vote.
I agree.
Even, counting all across all races, people, they can differ with everything, but something that commonly unite them, it's churches. It's funny that even if, whatever religion, people, when they are in church or they're in the mosque or they're in anywhere where people gather, even if we're enemies, we had to be together there. You see, because that's what brings a common ground for humanity, because people have a spiritual void. And anytime when they go to churches or they go to mosque or they go to anywhere, that's where these conversations can be properly discussed.
You look at the ideal contest, right? It's around municipalities, right? It's the local government elections that does primarily focus on the basic structure of accountability, the basic structure of service delivery. Over the years, we've seen obviously, varying numbers in terms of the IEC, the terms of those who are registered to vote, but equally those who are ultimately coming out to vote. Your understanding of what makes it difficult? I'm already part of the voters' roll, but what makes it difficult for people to actually say, you know what? I'm not going to go out to the polls. I'm not going to go out to vote. I am already part of the system, but I'm not going to go out to vote. How can we encourage people to actually take up the responsibility? Because it's another thing when someone is not on the voters' roll. It's another thing when someone is on their roll. Sure, but they don't actually ultimately go out. What do you think is the issue? What is the disjuncture between these two ideas?
There are many factors that informs that. Which one of them is that we're not, we are not mostly attuned to development. If people will still stand in the line for long hours to vote, that can also discourage someone. If someone has to wake up at 3 o'clock for them to be number one, that can also affect a lot. People are doing a lot, to even survive. Even to spend the whole day having to stand in the line, even if that is important. It can discourage people not to go in their numbers. It's important for us to, it's time for us to acknowledge that technology has outgrown us. And we need to take advantage of it. If we can come up with other ways. I know that for old people and disabled people, we have come up with ways of attending them at home. Prior
special votes.
Special votes. But we need to take that. Even the things of having to have people saying that votes were rigged. You wouldn't have that if you involve technology in it. Because no person is there to count. The machine counts for itself and it gives the exact numbers. And it could be 1 or 3 or 4 people who have access to the exact numbers before they are taken out in the public. But if you have someone that will make that decision, say, we've counted and this is the number, it's easy for that to be rigged.
I agree with you on the score that we need to transform. But you look at obviously the extensive work of the IEC has been, splendid over the years. It's one among the many Chapter 9 institutions in our country that have still withstood the test of time. I think credence must be given to the IEC for the stellar work that they've done. Think about an organization that withstood obviously the political pressure that emanated as a result in 1994.
It was something else.
But I just want us to also diagnose the issue of these types of elections. You have political parties going to people and obviously promising a lot of people. But I find these elections to be the most important in the country because when you do not have water, the closest institution to that is the municipality. Right? And that's why, for me, if I were to encourage somebody to vote, I'd say look at your current plight, look at your current situation, right? All the things that you are crying about that have an impact on your livelihood, that could be changed by you simply exercising your vote, right? So I think for me, that is it. But what is it for you? Because for me, I interact with a lot of young people, and one of the things that they complain about are things that they can change, but they do not have the information, right? As to how they can change them. Give me your view around what do you think can young people do to change that? Because yes, this conversation is centered around voting, but what else? For me, I'd also say young people need to be active in the geo scheme of roughly our our country, our provinces, and our municipalities. For instance, you've got democratic structures that emanate or that that exist within municipalities, such as
LED.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give me a sense of where do you think young people fit into the geo scheme of things?
There's quite a lot of platforms that young people are having, but having wrong leaders, even if those platforms exist, there can be existing platforms which young people cannot effectively use. Because at the end of the day, the people that controls those platforms are people that you have voted for. So prior the importance of the structures that exist within local municipalities, the importance of voting. Because your vote will not only create that platform, because that platform already exists.
Sure.
Including our constitution. I mean, our constitution is the best in the world.
Come on.
It is. Yeah. It is. But unfortunately, because you do not put right people to help you to see the reality of that constitution, it becomes difficult to even realize the power in which the power that lies within the constitution.
I like the point you made earlier about not leaving any group behind. We've got special votes for obviously persons living with disabilities, but even the elders, the IEC officials get to visit them. But also there's a grouping that often is left out in society. I know I had a conversation on another platform on radio where we were talking about leaving no one behind in the context that in society right now, our society is developed, is maturing, but equally you've got the LGBTQI community that is somewhat missing into the voters' roll. Give me a sense of how then does how does the IEC and many other organizations encourage those ones to come into the role and actually be a part?
I mean, for you to achieve that, I mean, you need to start by unlearning a lot of culture that exists within our community which resist unity. So there's a lot to unlearn, because you wouldn't go to any group unless you have unlearned a lot of resistance in terms of culture. There's a lot which we need to unlearn. There's a lot that which we need to learn. So meaning that, and which stands as a work of the church, it stands also as a work of the whole civic society as a whole, to go and bring that education. Teach people why is it important for everyone to be part. Number one, why is it important to equally respect everyone? You see, so we have a lot. I mean, if you still have a problem with me, I mean, you wouldn't even come to me to tell me about something important.
I hear you.
Yeah, so we have a lot to unlearn, especially in our African, that is there within our African culture. I mean, if we deal with that, I think we can achieve a lot when it comes to attending each and every group.
When you say that, something that really stands out for me is, how you fill in forms. Primarily on the LGBT community aspect. So you would have a box for males, you'll have a box for females. And of which, where society is now, primarily of that community, some that do not really ascribe
to any of the two.
Sure. Yeah. And it shows how we have somewhat secluded that particular community from participating, because others, they genuinely associate with a different type of a sex version, right? So as a result of that, you do not have.
And you miss out that.
Sure.
But the thing is that also is the work of the government, because you cannot pass policies that you do not have, you do not create a room for. Meaning that we sit down to debate, we sit down to talk about passing policies. You recognize that we have this part of groupings, but yet you do not provide a space or a room. You don't even provide a room for education. You don't even provide a room of illuminating people about that. So it's like you do recognize that I'm there, but you do not provide a room for me to exist.
I see.
You see? Because if we still discuss issues of the gender up to now, after a long time we've spoken about many groups that exist within South Africa. How then do you say you have officially recognized You have not officially recognized, meaning even you yourself as the government, you still struggle with that idea. Possibly you have signed a treaty and that makes you to just welcome the idea, but yet you do not provide a room. Why? Because you yourself have not naturally accepted that fact.
Yeah. To somebody who's watching us now and they're thinking, actually, Mina, I was not going to vote. How do you then convince them otherwise to say, go out, be it young and old? Because I know our focus seems to be on the younger ones simply because they are new on their voter roll. But equally, you have a huge number of old people. I was looking at the numbers of the IEC. You have a huge number of old people. Some of them have not even voted because they were not even on the voters roll. How do you encourage everybody to say, look, come the 4th of November, go out and vote? But it doesn't start there. It starts now on the 1st
registration.
1st and the 2nd of August. Go out there and register and make sure that you are on the voters roll, and then 4th of November you show up, you vote.
I think people don't just do anything. People in their nature sometimes a bit selfish. You see why? Because people always look at what is it that thing has for them. If it has nothing to do with them, they wouldn't participate. So meaning more emphasis of educating people about why is it important for them to vote, how will it affect them and affect their generation. We have a simple scenario. For example, our parents used to cast stones, during the era of apartheid, and came 1994, people had an opportunity to entirely change, though a lot of things were left unchanged, but at least their power of voting assisted them to practice certain rights. You see, so from there, building from there, you can draw the importance of voting. That we managed to change the system of apartheid through votes. We can still manage to change a lot of things that are not right yet in the country through votes. Because we've done marches, people have been marching. Instead, we've been losing a lot of people through marches. But yet, we stand an opportunity. You've made an emphasis on the issue of the importance of local votes. You choose people you know. You choose people that have been active right in your eyes. People who are always yearning to make a change, but they did not have a platform. Because by voting, you are providing an opportunity and a platform for people who have been working underfunded, people who have been working not recognized. If you vote for those people, you are actually accelerating their input and contribution in the community. You don't just vote, but you vote for. That's a conscious vote. The only conscious vote is the local vote, because you vote for someone you know. You pick someone that has been active in the community, and you are the one to vote for that person.
I see, and I like what you're saying, because I was looking at some of the contenders in my ward, for instance, the ones that have been made public by some of the political parties that are contesting. And there are about 3 of those guys who are living within my vicinity, in my neighborhood. And it brought joy to me that some of these guys, I've seen them actively, advocating for the plight of the community I belong to. And I like what you're saying, because voting primarily for the local government election, it gives a sense of belonging. Because it gives a sense of, but I know this guy.
I know this guy. He has been there.
Type of thing. I know this lady. Type of thing. And that's what I like about local government elections. But obviously that would not happen if you're not registered. And if you don't.
It can be.
And also it will not happen if you don't show up. Because the issue also that we have is that a lot of people are not showing up. And for me, I'd like to use the platform and actually say to people, really show up. For you, in fact, for your vote to actually have a voice, show up, because definitely your voice can change.
It's time actually for conversations that are had in the corners. Conversations that are held in the shops. It's so amazing that even our sometimes you come at church, we discuss the issues of what's happening. It means that we are totally involved with what is happening within our communities. We can also, as a church, you say, okay, the church itself can produce people that can participate.
I I never thought of
intentionally
it like that.
train people because remember the structures have structures within it.
I like what you're saying simply because the local government, right? Primarily the local government elections, in the context of Mpumalanga, we saw a lot of independent
candidates
coming up. As a result, that people were actually exercising their democratic
That's actually proves that democracy is in a way. Because if you have similar faces coming in, it's not yet democracy. It means that many people are not participating. To show that people are practicing their democratic right is when you see a lot of independents coming in, a lot of people wants to participate. It shows that this is democracy. To see a church member coming in there, whom isn't everyone who have faith on the people who have trained and produced. I mean, if Islam train their own people to participate, I think we have also seen a lot of those people who are within the religion of Islam who are trained to go and participate. Go and participate so that we are represented in the conversations.
Sure.
You see, we hear all corners of inputs. We don't complain outside. We are in.
I like that, and maybe as some of the parting shot. Are you registered to vote?
Yeah, I am. I won't miss it for anything. I am. I won't miss it for anything.
One thing I must say, I am registered, and one of the things that I did, obviously, I changed venues, but still within the vicinity of Mpumalanga. What I've done, I've already also, obviously changed my VD to the new VD because I'll be voting from a different voting district, and just by easily like that, I was also assisted by some of the IEC officials when I went out to the registration boat around, and they were able to register me.
I think that is also important for people to note. People have been registered long time ago, and due to work, they had to relocate to some other place. Go and check. Don't say no. I've registered. No. Just go and check. If there are things to change, it could be your numbers. It could be the location. It could be the email. Go consult and check. Your things are still in order. Don't find yourself you say no, I'm registered. You go to a certain area to vote. They say no, you're not voting here, and you're far from where you're supposed to vote.
And I suppose to echo your point, it is also incumbent now that there was a what they call a ward delimitation process, where the municipal demarcation board came in and altered some of the wards and some of the the boundaries. And obviously IEC has now somewhat
to change.
So IEC has allocated different voting districts for different wards as a result of that demarcation. So I think people need to go out and actually check out and see if they still would register within that particular voting district, and if they're not, then they'll obviously opt to the one that it's nearer to them.
Exactly.
Appreciate you, my brother.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was lovely having us here, and I will just encourage you within Civic Society, go and encourage people. And it doesn't need you for you to stretch. The people go and speak to them, tell them to vote, the importance of voting. The section of 19 in our constitution encourages that at least if you are 18, you are eligible to vote. You can go just register to your nearest or nearby VD on the 1st of August until the 2nd. We'll be doing that. And the 4th is the last decision. If you are not registered until the 4th, forget about voting. You wouldn't be able to vote.
But there's one thing I must tell you, that your voice, in fact, your vote is your voice. And your voice can be the one that ultimately changes everything. Without that, Mpumalanga, we just want to thank you so much, and a big shout out also to our great friends at the Civic Society Unmuted Coalition who have made this particular episode a reality. And I just want to thank you, Mgo. I know you are among the treasurers there, and all the best in the work that you do, advocating for obviously the plight of people, but equally educating some of our people to to do the right thing.
Thank you,
my brother.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mpumalanga, siyathokoza. Till we meet again, ngiyabawuba uzimani Tlhogomele noHanan Jutubas.